Hello, welcome back to the newest episode of Old School versus New School. And this week or I guess this month, we want to talk about Total Recall, the 1990 version and the 2012 version,
Yes.
with Arnold Schwarzenegger, the one with Colin Farrell.
Mm.
So these are ones that I'd seen one of them before,
Mm.
but I hadn't seen the other one before. So it was kind of a bit of revisiting, and then also a bit of new, as it were.
Mm. And I know people have been clamoring for the Total Recall visit.
I know it's been 10 years
Hey.
since the remake, and people want to know.
Yeah, we want to give you what you're asking for. So,
At this point in time, we're doing it mostly for ourselves, and he wants to talk about Total Recall, so we're going to talk about Total Recalls.
yeah. So, Nick,
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to guess me first, or do I guess you first?
I think I've got your number picked out, so why don't you go ahead and... So we're going to... Ratings for the 1991 first.
Okay. So, the original one with Arnold Schwarzenegger. I would give that one... I'd give it a 6.
Okay. That was close.
Very close.
Because I figured this is maybe not one that you're super attached to, but you like.
It's... Well, let's do.
Okay, so for the Total Recall,
Mm-hmm.
I would also give Arnold Schwarzenegger's Total Recall a 6.
Okay.
Ah.
I gave it a 5 for you. I thought it'd be middle of the road.
Right, and so for the newer one, the
Mhm.
2012 one, what would you give that one? Let me flip to my next card.
The 2012 one, I would give... So I want to preface this first by saying, so on Rotten Tomatoes, critics hated it, and fans hated it a little less, but it was still, like, rotten. However, I would give the 2012 Total Recall with Colin Farrell, I'd give it a 7.
I don't know, I had my numbers flipped. So
Oh.
I figured this one you'd give a 6, and the other one you'd give a 7.
Yeah, no, and I'll go into
Okay.
more of why.
So I would give the Colin Farrell one. You got your number ready?
Yes.
I would give it a 5.
Shit. Okay,
Oh, we had
We
each
had
other's-
a-
we had them flipped.
we were flipped. Okay, so
So at this point in time, I mean, as per the format of the show, we're going to be talking rather in depth about what we thought, our thoughts and such of the movie. So be prepared that we're going to be spoiling
everything.
everything.
Yeah.
So if you don't want your 1990 32-year-old movie in your 2012 10-year-old movie to be spoiled, click away now.
Bye.
All right.
Wait,
So
wait. I think that one had a window. Okay, they're
it's
gone
enough.
now.
It's enough for me. Like I oftentimes watch TV on my bed, and it's like, it's none of that. That's plenty of time. All right. So I mean, I like the old one a little bit more,
Mhm.
and this is one that back in the day, I mean, it was like a generic, just kind of like Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. So you go and watch it, and you're like, what the fuck is this movie? It's weird as shit.
Yeah.
And I was just never really a big fan of it because it's fucking weird.
Right.
And also some of the stuff kind of freaked me out. A lot of the puppetry or whatever, like where he's pulling
Thing out
the
of the nose.
tracer out of a nose, and it's the puppet Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
And you've got the old lady head kind of becoming a bomb, and it's puppet head him, puppet head her.
Yeah.
And there's later one where you got like Quado is kind of like full puppet man up in the back. It just kind of it's the man that is Quado is attached to is also a puppet.
Yeah.
So there's just that uncanny valley, whereas it looks okay
Mhm.
because I mean it's a practical effect,
Mhm.
but also it looks uncanny because look how closely we are proximimated Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah, you can kind of tell that it's weird and creepy. So those things kind of creeped me out when I was a kid.
Yeah. Yeah. So the one thing that you didn't mention that creeped me out more than anything in that movie was the bug eyes.
Oh yeah, that
At
too.
the end, that's like the whole movie when I was a younger man,
Mhm.
many moons ago.
Mhm.
Fuck you.
You're welcome.
It was like the whole movie was fine.
Mhm.
It was an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie like you had never seen him before.
Mhm.
So I was really into it. The bug eyes at the end where they're basically like doing the whole no oxygen death.
Mm-hmm.
Like that part,
It's freaky.
it freaked me the fuck out when I was younger. But I'll go ahead and say I liked the new Total Recall a little better because I just thought it was a better story. I like I want to get your impressions on this early on because like I have my theories of what I thought the end was when I watched it originally and when I just finished it this week.
Okay. So I think the original Total Recall is much more fuzzy as to whether he's dreaming or not. And whereas I think the newer one is less fuzzy and it seems more like it actually happened. There's a couple little things, but they don't do them as frequently or as well in the original Total Recall, in my opinion.
Okay.
So I mean, at the beginning, you kind of get like he's having dreams, and like that dream is, he dreams of a woman pretty accurately, I guess, and then like he's even got a scar on his hand, and it all meshes up well, and they just kind of don't really. I don't know. They don't go into it quite as much, like where they put the catheter in, or not the catheter, but the IV in, and like it's about to start hitting him with liquid. So I guess maybe he started freaking out like beforehand, but it seems like he got out of the chair and had a chance to avoid for most of it, because for the most part they don't talk about it again until his friend shows up later.
Right.
And I thought that scene was kind of done bad, as opposed to like the in comparison to the old one, where the guy shows up and he's just some guy and he's like, "Hey, I'm here. I'm a representative and I'm here to talk to you." And it's not until he like the sweat drips down that it's kind of. It's like, I'm your old friend, and I came in, and like, they're all holding guns at each other. And it's like the only way for you to get this is to shoot her for some reason. I can't shoot her. You have to shoot her for some reason. And it's not. I don't. I kind of like that. Just take this medication, and you'll go to sleep, and you'll wake up, and you'll be good. And it's just, I think that flows a little bit better. And it's not until like the very end, where he like looks at his thing, sees like the tattoo's not there or something, and he looks up and sees the recall poster. It's like, oh, maybe it was all a dream. I don't think they set up it being a recall vision very well in the new one.
Okay. See, I thought they did because it's kind of like in movies where it's a mind fuck, I want it to be on the main character the entire time because you're getting the story kind of through their eyes because it's like, are they in a simulation or are they not in a simulation? So you need to stick with them. When the camera cuts away and shows side characters running around and doing shit, that to me is kind of like the director most likely it's the director saying this stuff is going on and this is why this is about to happen, but like I don't like it when you're not getting the main character's point of view because if in a simulation if something happens on the side you don't see it till it's running up your ass. So I feel like the movie kind of lends towards, well, this thing really did happen. I think the action in the new movie is like 10 times better. The choreography is better.
Sure. I think I miss the because the original one was just overly violent. Like they're going up the escalator and the guy comes and starts shooting at him. So Arnold just grabs a dude and is using him as a bullet shield. There's squibs going off all over the place, and I miss the bloody squibs.
Yeah.
You didn't get much of that in the new one.
Yeah, that's true.
But you got, I mean, more grandiose action. I mean, of course, like the new one looks better. I mean, obviously.
Right.
You can't help but have it look better. And some like it's got like car chases and stuff like that that are a bit more, exciting in a way. So
it's little things that make me really like the elevator when they pop the emergency hatch and the first time Kate Beckinsale like locks in on him and she starts running and like the elevator passes the point where she can't slide in and you still see her sliding and you're like, bitch, you never knew. And then she comes to the fucking emergency hatch. I was like, oh shit. Like it's stuff like that. I really like that choreography, that action. And the reason I think I dug this one more is I love the action. I really dug the storyline. And then to me, that ending where he saw like, he looks for the tattoo that was supposed to be there, but it wasn't there. To me, that was kind of like, the movie starts out, something's amiss. He goes into recall. The whole adventure starts, his story. And then it totally lends towards, this really did happen. You really were a double agent, because they do like the triple head fake on you, where it's like, he's this person. No, you're really this person. No, you're really this person working to do this. Like, I thought that was really well put together. And then at the end, you're like, okay, well, he really was this agent that was like doing this thing for the resistance or whatever. He fell in love with the girl from the resistance and basically turned against his people.
Mm-hmm.
And then I thought it was like another head pump towards, wait a minute, this all could be fake because of the little mark that wasn't there on his arm that totally should have happened. But like the simulation just kind of forgot about that detail.
Yeah.
So I liked how the movie made it somewhat ambiguous at the end of this. It kind of puts it in your court for like the end of Inception. Did the top fall over, or is it still spinning?
Mm-hmm.
You know. So I really kind of dug that because to me the ending of the original Total Recall, it's like that shit happened. Like that's the way I kind of felt.
Maybe because I mean it's supposed to be. At the end of the original Total Recall, it kind of like fades to white, and that was one of the things set up earlier. Like at the end of it, you're gonna, when the guy was in, kind of giving him, here's the rundown of all the things that are gonna happen. You're gonna find out like you're your own worst enemy or something like that. And you're gonna save Mars, and it's gonna fade to white as your your brain has an embolism. So at the end of the movie, as they're kissing, like it fades to white, like maybe his brain's kind of like, and you're done, and it's lobotomized.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot more in the original one that kind of lends to it being fake. Because I mean, he had a dream, and you kind of see it like he falls on Mars and kind of like suffocates or whatever, and then he like wakes up and his wife is kind of like, oh, what's going on? And then I don't know. I think there's just a couple more like you cut to them and he's like freaking out on the bench, like, and he's like, dude, he's going into shock, and that just kind of sets up to the fact that like, hey, maybe things went bad for him.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the reality of it, and they toss him in a cab or whatever, so it doesn't come back to them.
Yeah, I just some of that, like, okay, the car chase, the mag cars or the mag highway or whatever,
and the newer one.
Yeah, like that whole thing was good, and I liked how it wasn't like the cars weren't just floating, but they were also like hanging.
I like there was the magnet to it, like when he's reaching for the gun and the car went over, and he's like, yeah, whatever, the car's floating, but then it sucked the gun up to it because it's magnetic.
Yeah, and then I really liked when he basically popped the track, and then they turned the mag back on, and then like I loved that the car compressed before the fucking car hit it, and then it just kind of went and then kind of rolled off. I really liked that stuff.
Yeah.
Like that was to me, it was a really nice touch. But I don't know, the original, and I know there are people right now like, you fat dumb shit, screaming at their fucking thing right now, possibly, where it's like, I'm not. To me, if you tell a better story, then you have to give it its place.
I didn't think the new one had a better story.
Really?
I kind of like the separation between Earth and Mars, and that there's a man on Mars who is in charge of the air company, and he doesn't want to give up. Like, there's this big thing that could, would invalidate your business. Oh, fuck that. We're not doing that then. And then at the end, it's him getting sucked out into the planet and suffocating.
And then he restores oxygen to Mars.
And then oxygen is restored to Mars, and freedom is brought to all the people, because now the big corporation that was like, the big threat of the corporation was kind of like, I'm just going to shut this district's air off. Fuck you guys.
Yeah.
And that whole thing where this guy was fucking over the planet Mars so much that people were being mutated and stuff like that, because they had to go into the mines or whatever. So I don't know. He seemed like more of a villainous.
He's a good guy, man. He made women with 3 titties. He seemed more villainous. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Yeah.
Okay, but he seems a bit more villainous and kind of his oppression of Mars, whereas like the new colonies and like the newer ones, it's okay. And you've got like Britain and Australia and the two going through the center, which is interesting, but not a thing that would have. Like, I believe us going to Mars more than I believe us drilling through
the core of
the Earth.
Yeah, I dug the new storyline only for the fact of, it's something that could be very real. I completely buy that we chemical warfared our way into fucking like non-habitability on the planet.
Basically, got like kind of a section of Europe and Australia that's habitable, so everyone's moved there.
Yeah. And I really dug the idea of like, okay, we all live in Britain, which is supposed to be like the place, but like the colony, it has like so much more room.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a shithole that everyone kind of goes and apparently works on, or that's where like seems like the lower class people. But it's kind of like, okay, Britain's up to their old antics again. We're gonna go and do a land grab of the only other place. But it's like, why, if you just need gas masks to live in the uninhabitable areas,
Yeah,
why don't you just do that? Like,
well, if you can,
I don't know.
if you are capable of digging a tunnel through the entirety of the planet, that means you could dig underneath the Earth and have it like just under chemical area. You don't.
Yeah, no, you're right.
I mean, they had technology available to dig through the mantle, like fucking lava, and make a tunnel that was sustainable. Dig through the iron core and not give a fuck about gravity, but they couldn't just live like dwarves in the mountains.
Well, we're humans. We have to be up on the surface.
Do we? Not when it's toxic death.
I mean, you and Amber could go live together. I have to see the sun, or I'll die.
Yeah, you can simulate the sun, just like in the Resident Evil movie, where you'd be walking by and they have like they were working in a skyscraper when really they're dug underground.
Mm.
You could simulate it,
Yeah,
and that's
it wouldn't be the same. You'd know you were looking like a screensaver.
they were doing that in the other Total Recall as well.
Well, I also like the idea of like you're looking through the window at outside and it's simulated, but like if the place catches on fire, I like to know I can go through that fucking window. You know what I'm saying? And not just digging through a TV into a cement wall. But no, I definitely see what you're saying. The original with Arnold Schwarzenegger will always hold a special place in my heart.
Yeah, I think because both of the movies are kind of stupid, but the original one's kind of stupid and weird, and I think that weird is what makes me more entertained by the original.
Right.
Because you're kind of missing the stupid shit in the new one.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a heavier movie, but like, I don't know, I just like Kate Beckinsale. I've never been crazy about her.
Really, I think she's dope.
Like, I think she's. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, so she was in Underworld.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like those movies.
Yeah, I kind of like them.
I think they're silly. Like,
they are silly.
Yes, but I mean, it's like, I think they're silly in a bad way, if that makes sense.
But she was also in that one with Bill Nighy as well.
I know, and I think he was silly in that too.
Oh,
like,
but I like stupid shit like that sometimes.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I like turning off my brain and just seeing a good action flick, but it's like I hated the way the werewolves looked in those movies.
At least they were people in suits.
Yeah.
Nowadays they would have been fully CG, and
yeah.
then you go back and watch them, they wouldn't hold that.
Yeah, but like I think they borrowed the same suits from Dog Soldiers for that movie, right?
They were moving around a bit more in Underworld. I remember them running on ceilings and stuff like that, and it looking weird. But you missed the point.
Those were CG parts.
Were those CG?
Pretty sure.
Maybe. I thought it was just dudes badly running and comped onto the ceiling or something like that.
But I missed the point.
But you missed the her using the Uzis and shooting the ground and falling through. Like that's a thing you could do. It's dumb.
It is dumb.
And I like dumb stuff.
But it's fun.
Yeah, it's dumb fun. I think Kate Beckinsale, is she in Serendipity?
I don't think I've seen Serendipity.
Ooh, that's a good one. With John Cusack. I think Kate Beckinsale's the other one.
Is that like no? I'm thinking
it's one where John Cusack and Kate Beckinsale meet and they're both engaged or something like that. And she's like, well, if we're gonna meet someday, if we're meant to meet, we'll re-meet. So he doesn't give her name, or she writes her name like in a book and sells it to somebody. It's like one day if you come across this book again, then we're meant to be together. It's kind of serendipitous or whatever. And it's just a romantic comedy.
1 in a billion shot.
Yeah, but that's kind of the thing. She believed very much in fate. I think that was Kate Beckinsale. She was also in like a Polar movie that I don't remember the name of, but I need to try to track down again. It was one my brother had, and we watched together, and it was kind of fun. Like Murder in the Antarctic or something like that. She was like one of the characters in it.
I think I've seen that either.
That one was pretty good.
She believes in fate. It's like, so you're going to give me a SpaghettiOs sandwich for free, like she was a Jedi.
No, be more like, I'll write down my number on this DVD and I'm going to sell it to this local DVD place. And if you manage to find it again in the future, then we're meant to be best friends or something.
Meanwhile, that guy for like the next 20 years is obsessively picking up every fucking DVD.
Yep, he goes into bookstores and pulls up and to the front cover of the book and
What a bitch. I got more important things to do in my life than hunt for a fucking DVD just because I really want to know you. But man, that's got to be commitment, I guess, if you're going to search for that long. But
So, I mean, I like Kate Beckinsale, and I also kind of like that. Whereas the old one, you had the Sharon Stone and Michael Ironside's parts, and the new one, they just kind of combined into the same part.
Sorry for all the yelling, it's late.
And I kind of enjoy their combination a bit more.
Michael Ironside's just fucking, he's an American treasure.
He is. I mean, it's not like his part was bad. I just kind of think that those parts could have been condensed, because Sharon Stone didn't really...
Yeah, she was just there as...
She was the agent that was kind of like stashed there and was married to Michael Ironside. So Michael Ironside could be mad at Arnold Schwarzenegger for stripping his wife, and then eventually killing his wife. Whereas in the new one, Kate Beckinsale, I guess, was just pissed. And I guess she was told early on that he was a traitor or something like that, and that's probably why she was like really in on wanting to murder him. Yeah. She had a hard on for murdering him.
Well, it's like, so she wanted to murder him.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think she wanted to bring him in until he told her who he was.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when she was like, oh, he's fucking dying.
Yeah.
But, like, it doesn't make any sense because if she really knew who he was, then basically she knew he was a double agent. That was, like, there to, like...
But he wasn't a double agent. He was an unwitting double agent. Because in the new one, he wasn't a guy that agreed to have his brain wiped so that he could lead them to the rebellion. He was a guy that actually turned to the rebellion.
Right. Well, they wiped him from who he was to join the rebellion. Or no, he was who he was to look for it, and then...
And then I think they caught him, wiped him, and then hoped that he would lead them back to the rebellion. Whereas in the old one, he was a guy like, I'm going to wipe me, and then that way I can lead you to the rebellion by being a sleeper agent without even knowing it. And then afterwards, like, restore me, and I really want my body back.
Yeah, and even then that was like a weird head fake, because like if they had him in the beginning of the movie, when she came in to get them, you let them get away, and then you just fucking follow him, because that's essentially all they did. They just followed him.
I mean, it's like the first one is fucking full of holes, and I think the only reason they found because they had, what was his name, Benny, kind of a mutant guy with the one hand.
Yeah. Take my good hand.
Take my good hand.
I don't want to sit here and start blowing holes in the movie because I mean,
there's so many.
Yeah, really and truly, you could punch all day. But...
I mean, you could punch holes in it, and then they can all be fixed by saying, "Well, he was fucking dreaming." How accurate are your dreams?
Yeah, it was all a computer simulation, so sometimes, well, even in your dreams, like something weird happens, you just fucking go with it.
Yeah, it's the reality in your dream. You just you kind of run with that shit.
Yeah, until something so over the top happens, you're like, okay, I'm calling bullshit, and then you wake up.
Or something so weird happens, you're like, oh, I'm dreaming, so you just kind of fly away or something.
Yeah, well, I've never done that. I've dreamt where like things will happen, and then like something ridiculous will happen, and I'm like, there's no way. And then I'll wake up, and then I'll start thinking about what was going on in the dream, and I was like, that was absurd. Why was I okay with that? And that was absurd. And why the fuck was that person there? I haven't seen that person since the 3rd grade. Like, it's weird how your brain is just like, okay.
Yeah.
Let's just keep going.
That's how I remember it was essentially like 2 dreams back to back. At the end of one dream, I was being chased by a werewolf, and it like got me, and so I woke up like, oh shit, I got caught by a werewolf, and then I like immediately go back to bed. So the dream starts with me being shot out by the werewolf, and then going about the rest of the dream.
Oh wow!
So it's just kind of, it picked up where it left off.
And take 2.
It's like, oh, you got killed by a werewolf, now you're fine.
Have you ever woken up from a dream, like done that multiple wake ups?
I don't remember having done that.
It's happened to me one time, and it fucked my head so bad because it's like I was dreaming and I woke up, and I remember I got out of bed and was like, that was fucking weird, and like it's storming outside, and then I realized I'm still in the dream because it was exactly the scenario that was happening in the dream that I woke up from, and it was a nightmare I woke up from twice. So it's like I was having a nightmare, woke up, realized I was still in the nightmare, woke up, and was just like, man, that was really fucking weird. And then something weird happened, and then I woke up again, and I was like, I didn't think that was real. I thought that was like basically a movie.
So I have had a dream before, but usually they're like, I'm having a dream, and my body has to piss. So it's like I wake up in my dream, and it's like, oh, we're gonna go to the bathroom, and it's kind of like you pee in the dream, but it doesn't bring you any relief or something like that. So then I kind of like wake up again and being like, oh shit, I actually have to pee.
It just
Like it's one day that's going to lead to me pissing the bed, but it's not led to that yet.
oh.
But you have that. It's like you have to pee, so your dream interrupts what it's doing
Right.
to wake you up, but you're still asleep. Like your body isn't ready to wake up or something like that. So you wake up in your dream,
Your brain is.
and then it's the hunt for the toilet, which never really happens, which you never find or something like that. So you can wake up again and being like, I gotta get up.
Your brain's like the deep voice on Bill Nye the Science Guy. Oh, Nick,
Wake up.
we got a class 5 problem here, buddy. You need to wake up. Yeah, it's not to get off on too far of a tangent on
Well,
this.
that was dreams.
Yeah, but it was just, I don't know. I really just dug the new one because I just felt like there was so much more at stake. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger, you know he's going to be fine. To me, the special effects didn't age well. The only thing to me that aged well was the X-ray machine that they walked through.
Yeah, that was
like,
kind of neat.
I kind of missed that part of it, but like I really liked like the collars that made you have like the different face. I thought that was interesting. And then I liked the lead away where it's like it was focusing on the woman whenever he was like
Yeah,
going through the thing.
that was a nice callback where it's essentially the woman dressed like in the original Total Recall.
Yeah.
And she even says the 2 weeks thing.
Yeah,
But it cuts back to.
and then it cuts over to the other person, and then you realize it's the pictures of the passport that he was looking at.
Yeah, it would have been more effective had we just not seen the picture of the passport.
Agreed, but I think it was supposed to be an aha moment because as soon as she was like 2 weeks, and then you're like, oh, okay, there he is, and then you see the other one in the background, and you're like, wait a minute, and then it gives your brain just enough time to be like, I've seen that because
It didn't. I didn't have that aha moment because it's essentially showed her and the guy behind him. Like, oh, there he is. Like, but it's fun. But it's fun that they've got her up here. If they had her as one of the passports, or they just didn't show the passports, it would have been more of a surprise moment. I think.
yeah, no, you're right. But yeah, because of the action of the new movie, I just really liked it more. I'm not like a huge Colin Farrell person, but like
Yeah, me neither.
the bulk of his work that I have seen, I think is really, really good. I think there's a movie that he was in called In Bruges, and I kind of want you to watch it, but it's not going to be one I'm going to ask you to watch anytime
Also,
soon.
I don't know if it's one of. I don't recall having seen that one.
So that's one of those. I think it's one of the ones that was done in England. It's like another England kind of like caper thing.
And I've heard of it, but I don't know that I've seen it.
I think that's what it's called. I'm not gonna look.
Yeah,
it
yeah,
up
yeah.
online or anything.
I'm familiar with the name of the movie.
My least favorite Colin Farrell movie is still Daredevil to this day.
Really,
Yeah.
that movie has grown on me for being like terrible.
Really?
Yeah, I like how awful it is, but it also is Michael Clark Duncan as Kingpin, which is good.
I've seen it all at one time.
Really?
Like I watched it that one time
That
at the
was
theater.
at the theater with us.
I watched it that one time at the theater, and I was like, nope. You know, like it did some things right. The Echo location,
It was
Like,
really good.
it was amazing. It looked so good.
Michael Clark Duncan as the imposing Kingpin, I think worked, but I like him better than Vincent D'Onofrio.
I can agree with that assessment, just because he has the look. Because like Vincent D'Onofrio is just a big dude, but Michael
Yeah.
Clark Duncan is a big dude. And like when Kingpin walks in the room, you're supposed to be like,
Yeah, he's supposed to like tower over people, and it's not even that he's super strong. He's just fucking he's big and all fucking muscle.
he's very durable.
Yeah.
He's super durable. But yeah, I just his
That's-
rendition of Bullseye is just
Yeah, it's funny. That's when he's on the plane and the woman's talking, so he like does
That was the only good
peanut
part.
in the nut, peanut in the neck,
that was the only. Well, it was the peanut in the mouth.
peanut in the mouth, like
Yeah.
in the
She's talking
in
and
the-
talking, and he's like rolling his eyes, like, "Oh, shut up!" And then he just did the.
He chokes her to death, and she like rolls over, and the stewardess comes by, and he's like, "Oh, she's sleepy."
Yeah, that part was amusing, but like the rest of it was just. He was playing basically Jared Leto's psychopath.
Yeah, he was a bit much.
Yeah, it was so bad.
I mean, you also have the fun parts where I kind of like that that Matt Murdock like goes home and sleeps in a fucking coffin of water just to kind of shut the city out, and he wakes up like it's quiet, and then he gets out of the tub and it's fucking loud as shit to him, and it's kind of like he like goes and spitting out teeth and all that kind of shit just because he's going out and getting beat up every night.
I didn't remember that.
And well, it's like I also like the one part where he's in front of his like he beats up somebody and the kid is like, oh god, he's like, I'm not the bad guy, kid. He's like, I'm not the bad guy. He's kind of like fucks with him because he's going out at night and just beating the fuck out of people.
Yeah, but I mean that's Daredevil whole shtick. You
I
don't
know,
really-
and that's amusing.
yeah, you don't know he's the good guy.
But then you also get the weirdness of him apparently drawing the double D's so that the reporter guy can throw the cigarette and light up the double D's. It's like, all right, I've beaten up this guy. He just got hit by that train. I even said my line like, "Hey, you see that light at the end of the tunnel? It's not heaven. It's the A train." Nah, okay, it's time to throw the D's. What does a D look like?
Well, I mean,
I've seen a D, I guess.
oh, hold on. He's like, there it is. I gotta put a little flare out. Let's put these little daggers at the back of it here. But I mean, I gotta imagine it doesn't take him very long. Him being blind, he probably just knows exactly where to put that shit.
And he just kind of like sprays like.
Yeah, like
and
Zorro.
And it just lays out.
Yeah, and then like, I mean, whoever did that with lighter fluid in that original movie, it was so good. They took their time on that shit.
Yeah. It was the movie. It's bad, but I get enjoyment out of the badness.
I'll watch it again, but he's like one of my favorite Marvel heroes. So like, that's one of the ones where I have a chip on my shoulder.
Yeah, I can see it because it's not as good.
No, the stuff, the Netflix Charlie Cox stuff,
it's so much better.
So good. But like the old school Ben Affleck one, I really wanted to watch it because they were a little closer on the storyline. That I can remember.
I remember
very long time since I watched it.
I remember it because that's when we went to the theater to see. And I remember like me and Tim coming out of it being like, they killed fucking Elektra, and you're like, no, yeah, like Elektra dies all the time. That's kind of her shtick. And we're like, oh, we didn't know. I thought we just went to a Marvel movie and be like, fuck your established character.
No, that's
that's her shtick.
Yeah, the Hand is it's Marvel's Lazarus Pit storyline. That DC does for Ra's al Ghul, but yeah, I knew that was coming. I knew from a mile away, and like on the new stuff, I knew from a mile away what was coming on that too, and that's why I also that they established that in the Netflix stuff that the Hand had basically this stuff that came out of the core of the earth or whatever that was like basically bringing people.
Yeah, it was like dragon bits or whatever.
Something like dragon bile or something. Was it dragon oil? Or something, but like now that they've established that, you truly, if Marvel picks that up and runs with it in the MCU,
then no one's really dead.
No one's ever really dead.
But that's always true. No one's ever really dead.
Well, it's comic books. I mean, I was just listening to a podcast today where they were basically talking about Death of Superman and how it was like one of the biggest, most sold comic books in all of the world. And then the second they brought back fucking Superman, like people were just like bullshit, and like not only just dropped Superman, but like comics in general plummeted.
Well, that was back in the day when people were like, comics are look at your parents' old comics. Those things are worth money. So they would just be printing comic books. And the reason why the old ones were worth money is because they were burning them for fuel for the war effort. People were going by and rounding up excess paper. Be like, you don't need your comics anymore. They're junk, and they're rare.
Right.
When you print a fuck ton of them, and they're not going to become collector's editions because there's a fuck ton of them.
I really wish you would have told me that back in the day when I was like 15 years old and spending all of my money on fucking comic books until...
I mean, if you're buying them to read them, that's one thing. If you're buying them to collect them, that's another thing.
Again, I wish you would have been around back then.
Not that there's anything wrong with collecting. I mean, look at pop stuff. I mean, collect what you want.
Yeah, but it's got to bring you joy. Like, there's some things that I collect that bring me joy, and for some reason it's like, most of it I just like to hunt.
I think I like collecting movies. So, Total Recall is a movie I've owned on Blu-ray since 2013, 2012 or something like that.
Okay.
But I've never seen it. It's kind of like, it was on sale. I bought
on feral version? Oh.
It's one that I bought a bunch of... So when I buy a DVD, I tend to keep the receipt in the DVD cover in case there's something wrong with it. I could go return it.
I think you're a little past on that one.
Well, but now a lot of my DVDs just have receipts in them. So and that's the one that just happened to have the receipt, and I bought 5 other DVDs or whatever, other Blu-rays with it, and I'm just kind of like, oh, okay.
That's fun. You go on a walk on memory lane.
Yeah, and just kind of see what it is. Why did I buy this? Oh, it was $5 or something like that. And I just kind of bought like 5 movies at that point in time, and it was just one of them. And all the other, I think the other 4 ones that I'd watched, and that one must have been on my list, but just one I've never gotten to. Like Looper, I own that one on Blu-ray. I've not gotten to watch it yet. Like Black Swan's one I've not watched yet. I mean, there's a bunch of movies I've just never got around to watching.
I almost want to ask you to make the next movie Looper, because I have opinions about that movie, and apparently I am a stark minority on that opinion. And I don't want to lead you in one direction or another, but like, I had questions, and the answers I received are not making me happy.
Okay.
So
That's one day I'll watch that one. I mean,
yeah.
that's kind of what I had meant to do last year, was go through and watch a bunch of my stuff, but I still haven't done it. I need to go like look through my movies and be like, not watch it, throw it in, and just watch it again.
Mm. So, is there anything else you'd like to cover about these two movies?
So I think for me, the older one is better,
Mm.
but because of how kind of stupid and weird it is.
Mm.
Like, you go to Mars, you see some fucking mutants. There's drill cars. There's fucking shootouts with blood splats going everywhere. There's kind of the windows like apparently being made out of
Was it that?
yeah, it
was a four-fingered creature.
but you could kind of see the remnants of the two fingers and the one finger.
Yeah.
There is apparently the windows are made of something super super fragile, because in the one scene where like he shows up and he blows up the head, like his little disguise head, like there's one bullet near a window and it goes and then it just stays open and someone has to go physically push a button to close the emergency thing, not get sucked out into Mars button. And that's dumb, and I think it's amusing. And there's like when him and Melina or whatever her name was are running down the dome, and the guy like looks at him for a second. He's like, "Oh, I can't shoot. They're right next to the end of the dome." Like in a world but in a real world, that shit would be bulletproof. You're not gonna go and it's gonna break immediately and suck everyone out into space, or suck everyone out into Mars.
Well, I mean,
one bullet.
Well, okay, so
blow up an entire plane.
I'll say this.
And someone would have to hit an emergency not die button.
You also had like a bunch of fucking landlords and everything that were putting cheap air circulators into places because they just didn't give a shit. There was like there were no rules there. It's like people were just doing whatever the fuck they wanted to for profit. But
yeah,
you would think that if you had no atmosphere on Mars,
it would
that like if the windows were that fragile, basically windows would be busting every day of like. You know,
you could throw a chair and bust out a fucking window or something.
Yeah, like the air pressure on the inside of a place would basically just shatter the fucking window and pull it out to the void, because the void is already kind of like pulling on that thing anyways. So,
and I like how stupid that shit is. It's because the movie, both movies aren't that great to me.
Yeah.
So I mean, the new one's got some action and stuff to it that's kind of cool, but I don't know that it's new to me necessarily. I don't know that there's anything in it. Like how we go to the movies enough, and there's enough big shit blowing up to see a big tunnel thing, a big vehicle that goes through the center of the earth blow up at the end of it. It's kind of whatever. It's like, oh, they blew up a bunch of robots there. I'm like, I see robots blow up all the fucking time in movies.
Yeah.
That's not unique. But I don't see a man get sucked out to Mars and his eyes pop out of his head in a completely unrealistic, stupid fashion that for some reason gets reversed once air is there. Like if your eyes are bulging out of your head because there's no air, but you get air back. Oh, let's go back and heal. You're fine. And it's dumb as shit. And I like it.
And those fucking terraformers, those alien terraformers, they work. Like flat ass work. You fill an entire atmosphere in like the span of what it was like 20 seconds.
Yeah, it's like boom, air.
Yeah,
you're good. Blue skies on Mars.
Yeah, I also, I'll go ahead and admit I haven't mentioned it, but like it's got one of my man crushes in the new one.
It's not Colin Farrell.
No.
What's his name? John Cho?
No. Well, I like John Cho.
Okay.
It's got fucking Hal.
Oh, okay, Bryan Cranston.
I love Bryan Cranston. Okay. I think he's amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think it's that. I think it's a combination of that, because he's just the man, in my opinion, is dynamite in everything he's in. And I just love him to death. And
he's great.
And I'm sucker for a good action sequence. I mean, that elevator scene. I remember, I actually watched a part of this movie on my lunch break at work, and when she did the whole, like, she's running for the elevator, and like, you know she's gonna miss it. It's like, there's no fucking way. And they knocked out that emergency hatch like a few minutes before.
Yeah.
And to me, I already kind of had it out of my mind. And she does
like
that.
She's just gonna miss. Or
yeah, and it was like, oh, she's just gonna miss, and they're gonna get away, and then she just comes dropping it. It's like, to me, it was like, you missed this bitch. Oh shit! Like that whole moment was just fucking great for me. I thought it was great. Plus, I also liked how menacing she was. Like every time she suffered from resting vicious bitch face. Because like every time you saw her, she had like a fucking cruel, sadistic look.
Mean mugging the entire time.
Yeah.
I mean, I do like the implant hand phone was pretty cool.
It just looked weird. Like it's I don't know.
You got lights in your. I just kind of like the idea in the future that you just kind of put
Yeah.
your middle finger up to your ear in here, and then just kind of talking to the lower bit of your palm.
I don't remember what movie it was, but they basically did a rendition of that where basically you were doing like what you would do as kids.
Yeah.
But like I thought it was.
I wouldn't be able to do that because my index finger is not separated from my pinky on this hand. It is on this hand, not on this hand.
No.
It just doesn't want to be separate. No, they gotta go together.
Yeah, it started going for a second there.
Well, it was only going for a second because the other side is coming with it. For some reason, those fingers are married on the right hand, which is weird because I would think being right-handed more.
These two are married on this hand for me because it's like I can put the pinky up, but then the second I try to put the ring finger up, I can't get much past that unless I let the middle finger go with it. Yeah, see, I can't.
You can't do
I can't do that.
I used to not be able to do this either until I took like rubber bands and did it on one side and kind of like flex the muscles so I could do it that way. I would have to do something similar to that where I hold down like this finger and just kind of like work it.
Never done any hand exercises a day of my life.
That was when I was a kid and everyone was doing like that.
And why did it have to be this? Like, why wasn't it this? Because maybe they couldn't get away with it because Star Trek, but it was like this.
You mean the alien thing?
Yeah.
It was this. It was the two main fingers together.
It was the two main fingers?
It was the two main fingers together.
Okay. And then, like, the handprint was so big. Why did his hand work?
I just think it was push down on the button, and they just made it in the shape of hand. As hey, hand go here, push button.
I guess it's silly.
It's dumb, but I mean, all the dumbness lends credence to the fact that he died on the table. But I enjoy the fact that like he woke up in the morning and checked out the news, and they're like, "Oh my God, Mars is awful! Oh God, fucking Mars!" And then turn it off and be like, "Let's move to Mars." And then he was talking to his friend, like, "You ever heard of this recall thing?" "Yeah, my cousin went. He got lobotomized."
Let's go do that.
I'm gonna go to recall. It's like, dude, fucking stop.
Yeah.
How many red flags do you need?
I wish some director would have the balls. You go see his movie and it's like, oh, recall sucks, don't do it. It's like, okay, and then it's like the end. It's like that movie was fucking 10 minutes long. And then after that, they showed Not Without My Ass, the Terrence and Phillips story.
It's Not Without My Anus.
Yeah, Not Without My Anus. But yeah, it's the original movie. Like I said, it'll always have a special place in my heart. I mean, it's fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger. You were guaranteed to get a pretty good movie out of him until he got into like the Twins phase of his career. The only action movie that I've ever hated was Last Action Hero. I fucking hate that movie.
Really? I like that one.
Oh God, it was so bad. Fat Freddy will fought his last fought or whatever the fuck he said. It was just like, okay. It was just so over the top.
I like the kind of stupidness of it where he gets out of Tower, he just wipes it away with a towel, and the kid is like, "Tower doesn't wipe away like that."
Yeah, well, that and I like when they passed by the was it the Terminator thing and it had Sylvester Stallone instead of him, and it's like, yeah, but since Sylvester Stallone became president and opened up the library or whatever like that, I was like, okay, that's funny, but like the action sequences to me, they fell fucking flat. I don't know, maybe if I go back and watch it again, it's just like when I told a friend the other day I didn't like Hudson Hawk. They were just, oh my God, you didn't like fucking Hudson Hawk? I thought it was boring.
Is that the one with Bruce Willis?
Bruce Willis, and I think it's Danny Aiello.
Okay, I've never seen that one.
Would you like to swing on a star? And like, that whole thing never made sense to me until until my friend of mine told me that was a timing mechanism for them. Like they instead of like syncing watches, they would sing that song. But like, what if one person flourished more in the song? Would you like to swing on a star? Like the other guy's just singing it straight. There's no way that fucking works.
No.
But I thought it was corny, and I hate Sandra Bernhard. When she's in that movie, I fucking cannot stand her. But like I told somebody the other day, I was like, I hate Hudson Hawk, and they're like, we can't be friends anymore. I was like, Jesus Christ. But
I think anything with Bruce Willis in it, you're pretty much it's okay to not like it. It's as a person, he's hard to like. So as watching him in a movie,
he was a ultimate symbol of like what is man back in the 80s and 90s. Like everyone wanted to be fucking John McClane. Everybody. Yippee-ki-yay. Mr. Falcon.
Yippee-ki-yay is Mr. Falcon.
But yeah, like I've always liked him until I met him in real life, and it was like, yeah, that guy's a dick. But then again, he didn't really give me a lot to go on other than the fact of he wasn't interested in meeting some normal person on the street. I get it. I understand he wanted to run off with the stripper and not hang out with me. I get it, but it's like still, you know.
Yeah.
But anyways,
So, is there anything else we want to add about Total Recalls?
we could talk about certain scenes, but honestly, I don't want to I don't want to say too much. Like, I know we don't go into a lot of little things, but like, I think the movie is definitely worth a watch. The old school one and the new school one. If you're here and you haven't seen the old school one, seriously, go watch that movie. Like, that's one of his classics.
I think the old school one is a bit more worth it than the new one. I mean, the new one's, it's got neat stuff in it, and if you kind of like the generic sort of shit blowing up, and I mean, the vistas and shit that they do for the CG looks fucking amazing.
So we're at an impasse on the old school.
Well, I think you like the new one. I like the old one more. So it's kind of another draw, just like Ring.
I'm going new school.
I'm going the old's better.
So say down in the comments which one you like better, so Nick can see just how wrong.
I think look at Lance knowing ahead of time that he's gonna get lambasted.
I know I'm gonna get fucking flayed. I know it's the second a few people that I know like see this review, they're just gonna be like, dude, what the fuck?
But I mean, seriously. Honestly, like I gave it the old one a 6 versus the new one's 5, and you gave it a 6 and 7, was it?
I think I reversed it. I think.
Well, you gave
we picked the same numbers.
Okay, you gave the new one. You gave the new one a 5.
And I gave the old one the 5 and the new one a 6. And I think
so we were just kind of like.
Yeah, we just flopped.
They are really about that close to me, because I mean, the old one's fun, but it's dumb as shit.
Well, so I think the biggest thing about Total Recall back in the day is like the one girl with 3 tits. Mm-hmm. Like every boy in my teen range is going to remember that for as long as they can. Because 2 tits in a movie, it's like, well, yeah, but like 3 tits in a movie, you're like, holy, what is happening? I've got the weirdest boner right now. But it's just a classic. It's like it was unlike most things you could watch.
It's still unique, I think. Yeah. Like the new one, I don't know that it's super unique, because I mean, you even brought up Inception. Like, ooh, was it really a dream at the end of it? I mean, there's shit nowadays where you're like, ooh, is it a dream? But so even if you go back to the old one, like, oh, is it a dream or not? There's still fucking a weird mutant guy with like his skin over his eye, like it's a piece of hair. There's the fucking Quado. Wait, start the reactor.
Poor Quado.
Yeah.
Amber, she for DragonCon one year, she wants to put Jackie in a little chest harness. That'd be my little Quado. And I get to be the no-name actor that's like walking around with him on his chest. Was it a no-name or was that Dan Thomas?
I don't know.
Could have been Danny Thomas. I don't remember. Anyways.
So I mean, even if like the story is, I mean, go to liberate Mars. That's not a new story, but there's still the weird shit in it that makes it more unique to me than the new one. I mean, if you wanted to dig into the center of the earth, just what was that movie? Core. The Earth's core stopped spinning.
I've never seen that.
And we have to go to the center of the earth and blow it the fuck up, and that'll start to spin again.
We'll blow in it like a Nintendo cartridge. It'll start up again. I've never seen the core.
Me neither.
I will say this. The reason I probably also rated the new one higher is that it wasn't the same movie.
Yes, I do like that. They're just going to reboot it. Like, you reboot a movie and make the same fucking movie again, like The Lion Kings, essentially. Mm-hmm. Like, why? This is at least different. They don't go to Mars in this one. There's its own storyline with the same beats, as it were.
And I did like the head fake of, like, corrupt leader picking some fucking thing to like scare people and whip up fucking approval to like build his machination for world domination.
Yeah, the corrupt leader who's bombing his own people and blaming it on the rebellion so that he can get enough reason to send over all of the robots to just gun the fucking place down. Apparently,
but I mean,
it's different, and that's a good thing.
And I liked the fact that the robots didn't have faces too. It's like iRobot with Will Smith. Mm-hmm. That was so unsettling. Like watching that thing's face, like it was just.
You don't like watching Sonny's face?
No, I was not a fan.
I'm just robots are boring. I think at this point. How many Marvel movies have we seen where they're beating up robots or clones or whatever the fuck at the end of the movie? It's kind of like
can't have blood.
Yeah, I know. It's got to blow up robots. Yeah, it's
can't have blood. It's not the mouse's way. We might see some here soon with the whole thing that's going down in Florida right now, but.
That'll be blood then.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess check out either Total Recall if you're feeling squirrely.
I mean, let's face it. You've seen the original.
You might not have. I mean, at this point in time, from 1990, I know people that weren't born then.
It's true, but okay, yeah, maybe that was unfair for me to say.
Let's go back and revisit.
Which one? So, I will even agree with you. You need to watch the original and then watch the remake.
Yeah. And I think the new one it's fun action. There's something there. I mean, they're close enough to me. I think it's missing the weird stuff, and the weird stuff makes it unique.
All right. Well, we are at a dead heat in this.
I know. So I guess below, let us know, and tune in next month for another episode that we've not quite picked out yet. I know we tickled your balls at the end of the last one.
Yeah.
This one we're mulling around a couple more.
So I know we were talking about possibly doing. I mean, do we want to reveal any ideas or
to let people weigh in on ones they might like to see? I mean, we've talked about Carrie.
Sissy Spacek, old one, and the new one is Chloe Grace Moretz.
Mm-hmm.
And I know they're about to release. I think they're about to release another Firestarter. The original Firestarter was Drew Barrymore, and I think they're about to release it again. I think it was supposed to get released like in the middle of COVID, but I'm not 100% sure.
I know we've talked about the Thing before and the Thing from Another World.
The Thing from Outer Space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then maybe throwing in the technical prequel, but technically it's a prequel. It's not really a remake, so we could kind of leave that one out if we wanted to.
And we can also do what was it? The one that had like 3 basic restarts. The Grudge.
Yeah, we could do The Grudge.
Original Grudge, and then
the
Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Jew on, I think, The Curse. Or Jew on The Grudge.
Mm-hmm.
The Grudge with Sarah Michelle Gellar, and then the 2020 Grudge. And we could do a three-parter episode or a 3 movie for that one.
Or we could call it old school versus new school versus news school.
Let's call it the same thing.
Or the last one could be Shameless Cash Grab. I don't know. But anyway.
I've not seen it. Maybe it's good. I've only seen the other.
As soon as the kids get out of school, I might have a little more extra time on my hands where I don't come home and immediately just want to run in my bed and cry. So we might hold off on that.
Yeah, maybe. But that wouldn't be until June anyway. So let us know if there's other remakes that we're missing out on. Like you're like, man, I really want them to talk about Ghostbusters and Ghostbusters or something. Let us know.
Don't pick Ghostbusters. I can't do it. I can't. If you want to do like the old Peter Venkman, like if you want to do the old Bill Murray Ghostbusters versus like Afterlife, which is technically it's the same storyline, so I guess it won't work. Just don't
don't do it.
Don't make me watch the really, really bad one over again. Leslie Jones, Kate McKinnon, Kristen Wiig and Melissa McCarthy in that movie. They could eat my ass. They were so bad. Anyways.
So that's a quick review of that movie.
Yeah.
But give us more ideas of potential news and olds for us to compare. We've got a couple in mind.
It's a challenge. Find something we haven't seen.
Yeah. But give us something that neither of us have seen before, because that's fun too.
Yeah, just suggest something like challenges and try to put some. Tim, settle down.
It's gotta be a remake.
I know you've seen a lot of stuff we have not seen, but it has to be a remake.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's kind of like when we did Let the Right One and Let Me In. I've seen both of those. The Ring versus The Ring. I've actually only seen one of them, and like with this one, I've only seen one of them. So I mean, I've got a decent thing of, I guess, comparing the new to the old. And like originally, I went with the new one. The next one I went for one I hadn't seen before. So it's not always which one I'd seen first. Because in the first 2 episodes, it was the thing I'd seen second.
Right.
And now in this one, it's the thing I'd seen first. So it's not like I saw it first, therefore I like it better.
You're not falling under it by the traditional.
Yeah. So I mean, at least that's good, because I mean, you kind of get worried. Like, do I like it better just because I've seen it first, or do I like it better because it's actually better?
It's usually because you've seen it first.
I know, but that's
it becomes the benchmark.
Yeah,
so,
it's what you use to compare, and
yeah.
Twice that has not been the case for me of the 3 episodes. So
all right,
maybe it's not there. All right, so let us know. Thanks for watching Old School or New School with Nick
and Lance.
Join us next time.
Or don't.
Or do.
It's your life.
Or do if you want.
Please do. And tell your grandma I like that little gal.